Okay, Doug.
Okay.
You home and where you at?
Jim, we're ready to go.
Okay, here it is, Thursday, December 14th. The Natrona County Parks Board meeting agenda is ready to go. So let's call it to order. Have a roll call.
Rob Hill. Present.
Jim Miller, present. Doug Irwin's on the phone, he's present.
Michael Brown, present.
Dave North is present. And did someone else chime in?
That was just Doug saying.
Okay. So let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have approval of the minutes from last session? That'd be November
I
9th.
make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any nays? Okay. Approved.
Dave.
We're messing around with the speakerphones right now to see if we can get everyone on there. So we're all set?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Could we get the Michael Brown's Park Director's report?
Okay, as everybody knows, the Cash Mountain Trail Center construction on hold. We are approving some colors, dedication plaques, typical architectural approvals, so they could start ordering pieces and parts to be ready for next year. Also at the Trail Center, we basically have zero snow. There's very little skiable snow, and we'll probably be closing more trails as the days come without snow. Bear trap shelters, we're still in the same pattern. That's on my list of things to get going. So nothing new there. Same with the wayfinding sign or wayfinding kiosks. No new update. I do have an email out trying to get that ad service taken care of. I got to check my budget. Again, the bridle trail gates are still closed for the winter. I'm going to keep them closed even though the weather's getting pretty promising, but I don't want to have to go back and shut them down after the fact. So we're going to leave it like it is. Trail passes, I think the last I heard we had like 400 trail passes. We are reviewing the option possibly for some of the vendors to be able to sell day passes. That's been a request we've gotten from a couple of vendors. So we're looking into that and how we could do that. Right now, you can only buy a day pass online for the day of the purchase. Hell's Half Acre, we had a meeting with the Historic Preservation Commission, County Historic Preservation Commission. It went pretty well. They're open to the idea of possibly a trail down below. They talked about possible volunteer stewards, and they're interested in assisting us with some of the information for the informational signs. They can provide verbiage and educational points. We also did meet with Rob Hill over at Pathways and talked about the potential of their program, maybe constructing some possible boardwalk for installation there. So we're kind of waiting to hear back on that. But so far, we're still waiting to see if we get any grant funding for that project. So it's a slow process. As for another, I applied with the state trails for Ponderosa Park for assistance from the Wyoming State Trail Crew on projects. They helped me fill out an application. I received notice of acceptance a couple days ago. So next summer, we'll have the state trail crew up there for, I believe, 8 days. They'll be working in pitch pen and TP can. I think that's what it is. TP canyons, improving the road access, clearing some trees,
Big.
doing some grading work and whatnot. This will really be of a benefit to the state snow grooming program as well as providing a little bit better access to the public through there. So we're fortunate to have them on board, and I think their total project contributions around $28,000 for the work and equipment and the staff that they'll have helping us next year on that. Are there any questions on the mountain updates?
Michael, could you just refresh my memory of where we are with the bear trap shelters? I think you said we're almost to the bid process. Where are we and what are the next steps?
So I've had a couple conversations with the engineer. We're trying to determine when best to get that bid out. And I think we're at the point that we're going to advertise that bid probably right after the first of the year. And try and get those bids secured and get a contract awarded, March or so that we can plan on construction in June, as soon as the snow clears, so that we can get that going.
And what was that bit about the historic trails?
The historic trails?
Or historic preservation society?
Oh.
I heard historic something and it wasn't
Yeah.
on the agenda item, so I just.
Yeah, that just came about in the last couple of days. I overlooked that meeting. We had a meeting. We've got a subcommittee for Hell's Half Acre. And so we met with the County Historic Preservation Commission to discuss that, because there's significant cultural sites in the area and whatnot. But it went pretty well, and they're on board to assist us in information that we can provide on our signs, and possibly how we can protect cultural sites that are exposed due to erosion over the years as they come about. So that was a good conversation, and we're going to take some of that into account when we try to finalize this proposal a little bit more and get the go-ahead from the commission once we have found some funding for it.
Excellent. Thank you, Michael.
Out at Alcova, I conducted inspections with the Bureau Rec on cabin docks. That's been completed. Bureau Rec is writing up their report. I did a follow-up visit with the building department, as there were a few docks that were of critical concern. And so I believe that department is now in the process of writing those up and contacting the owners. There are major safety issues on a few of them. So that's where we're at there. The Alcova water and sewer design, the plan is to award that to WWC Engineering. Hopefully that'll be on the commissioner's agenda on Tuesday. We had 3 on the interview committee and review of the proposals, and WWC came out on top, and their contract price was within budget, or real close to budget. So we hope to get started on that so we can have construction drawings by next fall, and then we can proceed to find funding or save funds to implement that new construction. That's all I have for the lakes. The only other thing I had was the parks rules. That's a slow process, and I haven't made any progress since the last time, so I should have just taken it off the agenda, but, so that's pretty much all I have for today. Any questions?
Mr. Chair, and Michael, so the alcove of the docks out there, how do, for those of us that are somewhat newer on this board, how does that permit process work? Or the, I see everything from 2-story ones to little tiny ones. Is there specs on those, or?
So in 2021, we revised the site modification guidelines, which is a document that county parks, along with county legal and the Bureau of Rec, drafted. And it's a guideline that tells you whether you can have a 2-story dock, what you can have on your dock, how big the dock can be, how far out from the shoreline it can be, how far it can parallel the shoreline. And then it also has different aspects for decks on cabins, decks at trailers, different sizes and whatnot. So that's the guideline. Really, when somebody proposes reconstructing a dock, say, first off, they need to file a building application, because we need the building department to review it for code and everything. They need to obtain an Army Corps of Engineer approval, and I can provide this document to you. Army Corps of Engineer approval for anything that's going to be disturbed within the lake bed. So anything under recreational water levels has to have Army Corps approval. Then once the building department conditionally approves it, they're okay with everything. Then I prepare that package, I review it to make sure it meets the site modification guidelines, and then it's submitted to the Bureau of Rec for their review. And so the process can take a while, especially with the Bureau of Rec. But I try to expedite that as best I can. But if you're going to reconstruct a dock, if you have everything in a group and everything ready, it's probably 3 months. If there's some questions about it and things are missing, you could talk about 6 months. So that's just kind of the timeline, and it depends on the project. If you're not doing anything under the water, you're just resurfacing, we may not need a Bureau of Rec involved. We may not need Army Corps of Engineers involved. But if you're going to replace your wood decking with Trex, I'm going to have you talk with the building department and review, because substructure is different for those materials. So
Okay. So the docks coincide with the cap.
yeah, so each cabin has one dock. Now the dock does not actually, it's kind of part of their lot permit, but it doesn't fall within their lot boundaries. So there's different regulations on that from the Bureau of Rec.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Sorry. So when you said there was quite a few that were in critical condition,
Well, there's 100 docks there, and there's probably, I took the building department out to look at 11, and there's probably 3, maybe 4 that are serious.
and I would assume that would mean they would need to go through that whole process again.
Yes, but they may need to be shut down until they can go through that process. I mean, one has a vertical drill pipe support that's rotted all the way through, and so it's separated there. There's another one that has a chain between 2 of the piers with a trucker's buckle camming it over to be tight. There's another one that there's several of them that have some of the substructures completely rotted through. So, yeah, they're not safe is what it is, so.
I got a question on the mountain, Michael. Do we have an update on the lodge at all?
On the lodge, just it's in progress. They're working on it. We were finalizing some of the approvals on the pre-engineered metal building. So I know they're getting probably finalizing the drawings on that, and I would expect a submittal to the building department in the next month or two, so they can get that approved and then ordered, so they can have it on site when they need it. You know, depending on how our snow season goes, if it stays like this, they might be there February 1st. I'm not sure, but no. So really, it's just right now it's the contractor submitting requests for approval on certain items to the architect. They review them. If they need clarification from the county, then they request that, and we go through that process. But really, it's just a paperwork process, ordering process. You know, I'm sure they're going to be ordering some of the probably some of the electrical components that have longer lead times here in the next couple of months, so they have that in place. But yeah, that's the status of it. So they're just kind of, it looks like nothing's happening, but there's quite a bit going on behind the scenes of ordering different materials and whatnot, so they're ready.
Okay. I sent you a text the other day, and I'll just mention it tonight, is I've had a number of calls on the, I don't know if you say trespassing of dogs and people walking on trails that Joe has tried to put snow on to allow some skiing. But that seems to be a problem again and again, that people aren't reading the signs that indicate what is appropriate up there. So I don't know if we can look at, I know I received a call from a person, a family, that said they would purchase some signage if we would come up with the appropriate signage on what is appropriate. I know there's some signs there. There's some small signs, there's some huge signs. But at this point, I don't think anybody's reading them. So I don't know if we need to come up with something better or what the direction we need to take.
You know, really, it's the culture. You know, nobody wants to share the trail per se. And when they do share the trail, they feel like the other user groups aren't doing it appropriately, which, yes, that does happen. With this type of timeline, you know, with trails being closed and hardly any snow and rocks sticking up, I think a lot of the walkers think, well, I can just walk there anyways. I walk there all summer. And so I don't know. We don't have enough staff to enforce it. Well, we don't have any staff to enforce it. Let me clarify that. Not enough. We have zero staff to go around and enforce it. The dogs are another thing, but we have signs. Oh, the rules are on the back of the trail maps. They're on the back of the ski passes or trail passes. Let me clarify, because they're not just ski passes. They're fat bike and snowshoe passes as well. So I don't know if additional signs will help. I'd be more than happy to put some up. We tried this a couple of years ago with, you know, an etiquette as to where you should snowshoe on the side of the trail opposite the set tracks. Right now we have 0 set tracks because we don't have enough snow. We can't even put the tiller down to make corduroy right now because there's not enough snow. So most of our grooming right now is with a skid steer and a drag, because the cat brings up too much of the rock. You know, the tracks on it just dig in too far. So we can definitely try signs. I'm hopeful that when we get the new lodge up and we have somebody there occupied, that they can go around and try to educate people and inform them make sure that people are following the rules. I think some of that's in our rules. So enforcement, we have zero enforcement, and the culture, most folks up there think I do whatever I want. I mean, another contention we have going on right now with the Christmas season is, I believe it was reported to me that we've had almost 30 Christmas trees cut out of the county parks, and there is no Christmas tree cutting in the county parks at all. If you want to do that, you get a BLM permit and you go to a BLM approved site for that. And again, we have no way of enforcing that, so we just hope people are, doing the right thing, which obviously some of them aren't.
The ESO could enforce that, though.
What's that?
The Christmas tree cutting, the sheriff's office could,
Yeah, if
they're up there and
if
see
they're up
it.
there, if they see them, and then you almost have to catch them in the act on the park's property, because they go, well, I got it off my friend's lot at the end of East End or wherever. So, yeah.
May
But-
I ask a question about the
Yeah.
signs? Is it that the signs that we have aren't adequate or explaining it, or is it that we don't have enough signs?
We have small signs. The complaint that I hear is that they're too small, that they don't understand them. And we got those signs years ago, and that was, I mean, we didn't make them up. We got
Right.
them,
Right.
from a dealer, but it seems like we're just not getting, or people aren't just not paying attention to the signs.
I mean, at Skunk Hollow, there is a sign that says "No dogs on trail" on a tree, 11 feet high, that you can read almost 100 yards away. So,
I'm not an avid hiker, but I have seen the signs. And so I wonder if it's not just ingrained that that's what they've always done and that's what they're always going to do. And until there's enforcement, that's a difficult.
right.
Is there maybe a different sign that this particular family wanted?
No, they're skiers up there in snowshoers, and they just
This has to be. a
are willing to
frustrating
pay for a better sign.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, they said that they would be happy to pay for it. So it's
Well,
just,
if they're donating it, I don't see why we shouldn't look at maybe if it would
Yeah.
do something.
we just got to come up with the
Right.
right verbiage
Right.
on it, right? And not a lengthy essay,
Yes. Yes. And maybe something in a nice bright color.
right?
But
Another thing too, Michael, I know there is a sign up there that says no Christmas tree cutting,
Yep.
but it's small and it's,
It's small, and as you enter the park.
right, just
So
as you
they're
enter the
not
park.
everywhere,
Right, right.
We try not to litter the entire park with signs, but some of the public's probably going to make us do that. Litter the entire park with signs every 50 feet so that you'll still ignore it and do what you want.
Well, I've noticed within the last 2-3 weeks that the snow that Joe has put up to stop the traffic go around Bear Trap campground, that's been mowed over by four-wheel trucks. And
Yep.
so anybody can drive through it now, so the lack of snow is not helping us.
Yeah, you're right.
Michael, any plans for large events on the mountain this year, like last year or anything like that?
No, we're actually gonna have all the camping closed. Day use will be fine, but with the construction of the road, which is moving forward and should start next year, there's too much of a potential for backlog, traffic jams, traffic controls a thing. So the Bear Trap Music Festival, I'm not 100% sure where they're gonna have that, but it will not be a bear trap.
was it not David Street Station? It's not.
No, it's, yeah.
It is
Wash-
going to be Washington Park. Okay.
Yeah, most likely, yeah. And, so yeah, there won't be any events. We're gonna recommend nobody take, any trailers up there, unless they're going to their residence or something, because, traffic delays can be significant. So that's why we're kind of canceling the camping. Plus, if there is an emergency with the construction, it just adds to the problems that you have to encounter. And Muddy Mountain Road's also going to be under construction. I do not know if the BLM's going to continue their camping over there or not. For, right. Yeah.
Does the general population know that yet?
There's been public meetings on it, yeah.
Well, yeah,
So, but,
I know. Kind of like the signs, yeah.
yeah.
We'll start campaign in spring, just to make sure that everybody.
Any other comments? On the board? Michael? Anything else to say?
No, nobody from the public tonight, you know.
Right.
It's always nice when somebody from the public comes to visit.
Commissioner North? Any words of wisdom?
Probably wisdom how, well, do this sort of, but
There you go.
okay. We've been working with Michael on a lot of this stuff. And because of the road construction next year up there on the mountain, that's one of those things that we've been trying to let everybody know what's going on. It's not that we want to close it down just to close it down. We want to make sure that if we have a lot of traffic, it's actually going to increase the amount of time that it's going to take to get that road completed. So it's actually detrimental to having a lot of traffic up there. And that's the reason why we're trying to minimize that. It's not a punishment. It's to actually make it easier for the people that live on the mountain or have property up there to be able to get up there and get down without having to deal with a lot of the headaches. So, on the sign issues, unless you have enforcement, signs don't work. That's just all there is to it. It's just like a stop sign. You put a stop sign up and everybody can know it's there. But if there's no penalty for going through it, then they'll start doing it once and then they just keep doing it. So, I don't know what the answer is to that. I don't know if there is a good answer to that right now. Additional signs, bigger signs, but that is one of those things. Simplicity is something that you have to have in signs. The more you write on and put on a sign, the less likely people are to read it. So it's just, it's just like a kiosk. You go to a kiosk, and if you have a whole series of instructions on there, people will read the headlines, and that'll be as far as it goes. That's just human nature. So, and I think signs are the same way. So if we're going to put additional signs up there, we need to make it simple and short, sweet, and to the point. So, but other than that, we don't have a whole lot of control over what the good Lord sends us as far as snow. So until he decides to send us a little bit more, not really a whole lot we can do except groom the rocks. So, but, okay.
Thank you.
You guys got any questions for me on anything? Okay.
Not right now, thank you.
Okay.
Doug, I didn't forget about you. I just got ordered a little bit. So do you have anything to say?
No, thank Michael for the updates and, everything he's been doing, and, that's about it.
Okay. Michael, thank you for going forth with the state trails money and whatnot. That will really help that area down there with, well, that whole area in there needs some attention to it. So next summer, I guess, we'll get going on that.
Yep.
So does anybody else have any comments? Okay, I guess we can adjourn this meeting. Thank you.